Hello and welcome everyone. This is Collin and Curtis in the morning. It is June. Collin, it's June.
Feel the hype.
The hype.
Feel the hype.
The hype is real. It's coming. The train is pulling into the station, but it's still got a week to go. We're not there just yet.
Yeah.
We're not there just
we
yet.
We can almost see it on the horizon.
Oh.
But it's.
I see. I see what you did there.
Oh, I just did something. I didn't mean to, but I just did.
It's about to tighten fall on. Hey, Collin, tell us about these two new cars coming to Rocket League.
Man. Sure. So, no, I was gonna make a Mass Effect Andromeda joke there.
Try do it. Go for it. We're already ruining the show.
We could see it from the far off galaxy of Andromeda. I don't know. But yeah, two new cars coming to Rocket League. One is called the Marauder. The other one's called the Aftershock. I think these are cars that were in the Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket Power Battle Cars. I still know that name. These will be available first in the Collector's Edition. If you buy that, it's the physical release of Rocket League coming July 5th. But then they'll also be individually available for purchase on July 18th for $1.99 each. So this is part of their premium DLC that they release in addition to a lot of the free content.
Nice.
What are your thoughts? You gonna jump back into Rocket League?
You know,
When
I was
last
actually
time you played Rocket League?
So it's been a while. I was looking at So just gonna boast a little bit. I got my Dark Souls 3 Platinum last night. And I was looking through my trophy list, and I actually got down to Rocket League, and it's been a while. It was like the second, because at this point they've had like 5 or 6 little add-on trophy packs to that.
Yeah.
So it's like the second one I have finished or something like that, and I was like, oh, it's actually been quite a while. I don't know if I'll come back to Rocket League. At this point, nothing against that game. I love that game. Rocket League is fantastic.
Yeah.
But I think at this point I'm okay just kind of like admiring it from afar and just like applauding the devs because they've been killing it.
Yeah, definitely.
So I assume this is actually I'd assume you will get back into it because you've been pretty consistent with it.
I still play a little bit here and there. I think I've got all the trophies and all of the DLCs as well, including the Platinum Trophy. Just really, really enjoy that game. I don't really care too much about the Hoops update, the basketball update.
Yeah.
I wasn't really too big on. But yeah, just still playing the Rocket Labs and the Chaos mode was just like the 4v4. It's great to just jump on and play.
Nice. Well, that's Rocket League. So Bard's Gold is coming out June 17th on the PS4 and Vita. June 17th is weird because it's like, I think it's a Tuesday.
Not a Tuesday?
It's a Friday.
Okay,
We're seeing more of that.
Okay.
Like actually today on June 3rd, there's some stuff coming out.
Okay.
Always like throws me off because like usually like
Yeah.
Friday releases are big, like AAA huge games, and so we've seen at least in June more of that, which is interesting. It's a cross-buy game. It's only $5. It's coming to PS4 and Vita.
Yeah.
Let's see. Can you talk more about this? Do you know more about?
Yeah. So they stress very much that there's no hand holding and that they wanted to go back to like old platformers such as like Alex Kidd, where they didn't necessarily mention Mega Man, but like you could maybe say like, oh, Mega Man, where like it's kind of tough and you just learn as you go along. They talk about it's like a slower paced platformer as well. So they don't really describe
Kidd inspiration.
Yeah. So they don't really talk too much about the gameplay things because they're talking about no hand holding and they kind of want you to figure it out for yourself.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And there's more than 100 levels, and they said that each of the levels are randomly, not randomly generated, but like they're random each time.
Levels.
So
okay.
yeah, they're just random.
That's
levels,
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's like a permanent upgrade system.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. So that's out in a couple weeks. That is it's kind of a bad time to come out, really, but June is pretty packed at this point.
Yeah.
Broken Bots is coming to PS4. That is coming next week, June 7th. Looks like that's a kind of a multiplayer. Is it local? Oh, online. Okay, online matches up to 12 players. Also local co-op. That's $7. It's got a King of the Hill, Capture the Flag, Deathmatch, all sorts of multiplayer modes that you're used to.
Yeah, and like it's pretty kind of basic fare that you see in other multiplayer games. Hey, you get kind of a kill streak, or you get points or a score streak, and you can use it to be more assaulting and shoot other players, or you can use it to help out teammates, things like that. You can customize your bots with different weapons and abilities and such like that.
All right.
And it's just $7 as well, which is pretty.
Yeah, not bad. Like
not bad.
These are some pretty cheap games. Well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna take the next one. This one I'm super hyped about. Cosmic Star
Mm.
Heroine is releasing this summer. That's kind of all we know for now. This was a game, if you remember, it was kickstarted a couple years ago. It is by Zeboid Games. They
Okay.
recently they finished up the Penny Arcade Adventures. They did episode 3 and 4 of that. They did, was it like Cthulhu Saves the World, Breath of Death, like 7 or something like that. They've been doing a lot of these indie RPGs, like very old school RPGs for years and years now, and they are very, very good at it. And so Cosmic Star Heroine is really, it looks like a pretty big step up from what they've done in the past.
Yeah.
It is still very much a kind of a harkening back to an older era of RPG. I think like Phantasy Star, I think, is kind of somewhere kind of in line with some of their inspirations. It just looks super cool. It's a sci-fi RPG. They put out a new trailer. I guess it's the first actual trailer they put out for it, like with gameplay and everything. They put that out this week, and it just looks fantastic. It's gonna be $15
Cool.
cross-buy between PS4 and Vita. They got like a limited physical release from Limited Run Games that they're gonna do. So I don't know. I mean, they said this summer. I don't know if maybe we'll get a release date at E3 specifically, or maybe they'll wait a little while because it's probably still a few months out. But very much looking forward to that. And our last big news story before we hit the Plus lineup and then some other fun shenanigans is Deformers. Colin, do you want me? If I said like, hey, this game called Deformers got announced, and it's very colorful and bright and cartoony, who would you think would be making that game?
Clearly not somebody who makes like God of War and like shooting
in the order
werewolves and stuff. Yeah, exactly.
So Ready at Dawn
Yeah.
announced their Game Trust game, and of course Game Trust is the GameStop kind of publishing initiative. They announced their new game this week called Deformers. It is a local and online multiplayer game where you're playing like, I guess they're animals, but they're like think like a puffish, like is like blown up. And so
Yeah,
it's this
they're
huge like ball that rolling
yeah, they're
around.
just called they're called forms. So it's like you like basically what I got from is like you kind of like attack other larger, like you attack smaller players, then you grow bigger.
Yeah.
It kind of gave me like, what's that, Agregario or
I know what you're talking
Slither.io
about. Yeah.
games? Like that gave me like a very heavy that vibe.
It's
where you're like you eat the smaller players and then
you know what I
grow bigger
really
and,
you know, speaking as someone who doesn't really get into multiplayer games that much, the thing that really caught my eye about this game, the thing that I love about it, one, if you watch the end of the trailer, there's like the kind of the logo splash screen, and it has like some character designs and like the logo on it.
Yeah.
Love that. The art on that is so good. It's also just like, it's actually a pretty decent looking game anyways. Like there's some parts in that trailer where you can tell like the lighting is, it's just really nice looking for what it is. It's a very strange departure. It's kind of unexpected. Apparently this is like a passion project for them.
Yeah, they was talking about them working on it for at least a couple of years.
Yeah, I guess like there's some people there that are like really passionate about, like, I guess all of them maybe, but there was I don't remember his name. He's one of the more outspoken guys there at Ready at Dawn who's like, I guess super passionate. He was on Twitter. His wife made like cake pop versions of the characters. I don't know if you saw that. They're cool looking. They're real detailed and everything. I don't know if this is something I'm be super interested in. I'd be interested to hear what you think, Colin, but I'm just fascinated because it's not often you see such a sharp departure for like one specific developer. Like, we're making this kind of game, and then the next thing they do is so different, and that's really cool. Like I think I can appreciate that because it's easy, especially in video games, to get caught up in the same and doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind with this game is like, man, I hope the online community is there.
Sure.
Which I think is like, I feel like that's definitely, of course, like with a game like this where it's gonna bend and break. This almost just well, getting there, but it almost just feels like almost like a PlayStation Plus title, like you'd assume. Like if this game was announced and it was like PlayStation Plus, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I just don't see. maybe even 3 weeks after launch, there being a full
we'd have to
lobby of
see.
8 players.
We're gonna need to see more of like what all is here because, I mean, we're talking about Rocket League, and one of the things that Rocket League is very simple. It's got a lot of like little cool customizations and stuff, but it's a very simple game. It's extremely simple, and that's the strength in it. Is that, and that is kind of one of the reasons why it's able to take off in the way that it did. It is because the control's so fine, but it's also just very easy to learn. Like, you just inherently know how to win in this game. Like, you know what you need to do. The goals are very clearly outlined, and so like for something like this, and we'll see if maybe there's like a bunch of other stuff to this that we don't know about yet. But if it's something as simple as kind of like, okay, smashing into other players to grow larger, if there's like some really interesting strategies that you can kind of pull off here, like maybe that would be the thing that would get more people and draw more people in and have them stay with it. And then like, what would their plan be post release? Would they do what Rocket League's doing and putting out like a ton of free stuff to kind of keep people coming in? I don't know. It's unclear. Obviously, this game just got announced this week,
it is.
so
Yeah.
who knows? But that is kind of our big news of the week. Colin, let's move to the PlayStation Plus lineup for June 2016.
Do it.
We got 6 games here. It's one of those months where it's just 2 apiece. Sometimes we get like cross-buy games in the fold, so that we get like more than 2 PS4. But this one is straight up 2 PS4, 2 PlayStation 3, and 2 Vita. Colin, I'm gonna go down this list and we'll just briefly talk about share our thoughts here. NBA 2K16. It's one of the 2 PS4 games. Colin, how you feeling?
I don't know. I might check it out. I'm just kind of like hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could play it within the first 5 minutes and be like, I don't really care, and turn it off and probably delete it. But then there's another part of me that's like, yeah, like I'm actually kind of liking this. Like kind of like being able to play like an actual game. I'm not too big of a NBA fan.
An actual game. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know.
See.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I mean, I really love college basketball, but I never really watch NBA.
Sure.
Even all the NBA finals are getting ready to start, and the conference finals, and I paid no attention to it.
Yeah.
So I may get into it. Just see how it goes.
So I'm with you in that I care much more about college basketball than I do NBA, but basketball game's a basketball game. I'm actually pretty excited about this.
Okay.
We talked about this briefly, like I think off air, because there was a rumor that this would be one of them. And I was saying, like, it'd be kind of weird. It'd be so strange. It's like a sports game on Plus. It seems crazy to me. Although you said they'd done it before.
Yeah, it was back. I think it was when the PS4, it was like the same months like Mercenary Kings was free on PS4.
Sure.
They gave out NBA 2K13 or 14 or whatever free on PS3.
Okay.
So yeah, they've done it once.
So yeah,
already.
so I'm actually like I am very much most definitely like downloading this, and I'm gonna play a good bit. I've also heard like the story mode in this is suitably insane, so I'm excited to check that out too. Gone Home is the second PS4 game. What an interesting duo.
Yes.
You could not make 2 totally different games.
Agreed.
So I don't know if you've played Gone Home before. I have. I played on PC way back when it first came out, and I enjoyed it.
Yep.
I thought it was pretty good. There were other games of this genre that I like more, like The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. But I think it's definitely worthy. I mean, for free, I definitely would recommend you check it out. Just be open-minded if you've never played something like this before. And go in understanding what it is, and be open-minded about it, because I think it's an interesting experience. It's a cool like thing, and it was one of the original ones. It was one of the first ones that kind of came along and did something like this, where there wasn't really traditional gameplay. It was just exploring.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
I'm trying not to say it. Go ahead. How do you feel about Gone Home?
So I actually did play Gone Home back on the old personal computers back when it came out. I think we might have actually talked about this a little bit. I like Gone Home, but I don't think Gone Home is all it's cracked up to be. I
don't either.
Is what I'm trying to say. I don't. It's hard to you don't want to spoil anything, but there's some specific themes in that game that I feel like if they didn't include those themes, I don't think anybody would have
Oh,
said
be
anything
careful.
about this game. Oh, I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying there's themes.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't. When it first came out, there was a lot of people like, oh, this is the best game of the year. And that's fine. Obviously, like if you feel that way, great. I don't personally feel it's that good.
yeah, I don't.
But I
either.
do think for instance, I don't think Everybody's Gone to the Rapture is really worth checking out. The more I
Yeah.
think back on it, even though I liked
Sure.
it, like it's kind of hard for me to recommend because I feel like there's not really any good payoff there compared to like The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, which I would recommend no hesitation at all.
Mhm.
Gone Home, I think, is worth looking at because like there are interesting themes that I think will resonate with people.
Yeah.
And I think just the setting in and of itself, there's like certain vibe and tone within that game that's really cool and it's unique and it's different. And so I would more just say like I think Gone Home is worth checking out just in general, just because
think
it
so,
was like I said, it was an early one. It was an early, walking simulator. Like that's what people call
you
these
said
games.
it.
I like
Yeah.
to whenever we do reviews, I just put exploration because I think that's a bit more
Yeah.
fitting and it doesn't sound derogatory at all.
Yeah, definitely.
But it was one of the first things that Firewatch came out earlier this year and is very similar.
Mhm.
But Gone Home specifically, I really liked it, but I also found myself kind of being on the side of like I think this is really cool. I don't know if I would recommend people spend $20 on it, but you don't have
Yeah,
to in
I
this
don't
case.
either.
So
Yep.
hey, it's free. Siren Blood Curse. I guess this is the whole thing. It's coming to
Yeah,
PS3.
I'm actually pretty excited about this.
Me too.
Because
I don't have a PS3,
I had
but
checked.
I am.
Well, yeah, I was always looked at Siren Blood Curse like back in the days of PSN. This is like an early and same
This
as
is
the
an
other
early
PS3
one.
game that we'll
Yeah.
talk about. Yeah, it's an early one. It's a horror game, and it's almost kind of the episodic thing before episodic things were cool back in the day. I was always intrigued by this, but it was always still like $20-$30, and
Yeah.
it was like all together, and I just didn't really feel like spending like all the like I think it was like 30 for like the whole thing together. So seeing it actually coming free on PS3,
Yeah.
I think I'll definitely try and check it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna download it. I feel like at some point I oftentimes think back to PS3 games that I would love to play, and I know just stand no chance at being remastered or coming over in any way, shape, or form. So I always find myself like, man, eventually I'm just gonna go buy an old PS3.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking the other night, I was like, man, Folklore was so amazing. Did you ever play Folklore?
I did not.
Oh, I love that game. E3 of Dreams 2.0. If they like announced a remaster of that game, just stop it right there. That's all I need. Almost. Yeah. So I'm
Almost.
definitely gonna download this at the very least, just in case. Echo Chrome.
Does it have move support?
This is
I
the
don't know.
first one. So does it?
Oh, was it? I didn't know.
The second
yeah,
one
that's
did.
another.
I don't think the first one did.
Okay. Yeah, that's another early PS3 game. They've been touching a lot of those early ones recently. So basically, it's kind of like a puzzle game where you have this.
MC
is it
Escher
just basically.
kind of vibes.
Yeah, where
Yep.
you move the light around and you move your character to different spots.
It's all
and different
about
locations.
perception and
Yes.
the way that you view things and the camera orientation.
Yeah,
It's a cool
moving
puzzle game.
shadows.
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably all we need to talk
oh.
about that, I would guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
God of War Chains of Olympus. This is, correct me if I'm wrong, the second month in a row they've put out a God of War game on Plus.
Speaking of Ready at Dawn, yes.
Right ahead of E3.
Yeah.
Chains of
Yep.
Olympus, I think we said probably the same about Ghost of Sparta. Chains of Olympus is a great game. Very, very good. I know it's technically a PSP game, so maybe you feel snubbed on that, but it's great. It's fantastic. If you have not played it, definitely check it out. That is my thoughts on that. Have you played this game?
Yeah, I played Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta. I think Ghost of Sparta is better.
Oh, it is, yeah.
I thought Chains of Olympus was just kind of boring in general.
No.
There were some really good moments that I remember, but I just felt like I was just like I just felt like I was playing this like looking at my watch
Just going through the motions.
that I don't wear and just being like, when is this gonna get over?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Well,
I think if you've never played it, I still think it's worth playing.
all right. I think it's really great. Colin doesn't. but we both agree that it's worth playing. So
Yes.
there's that. And the final one, Little Deviants. You can skip this.
Little Deviants. You remember when
You
your
know-
PlayStation
you know what
Vita
this
was
is?
relevant with all of its touchpad screen
This is like the
things?
knack for the Vita.
Yeah, that's a good. It's like, yeah, you can do all the touch screen and all of the back touch and all of the gyroscope things. It's whatever. Little Deviants. If you haven't played it, I guess now's your chance.
Yeah.
Eh. Like, I just love how, like, this whole list was like, yeah, we got all these games, and then we're just like, Little Deviants. Oh, yeah.
Oh, those guys. Hey, Colin,
Rest in peace,
you-
Rest in peace, Big Studios.
do you hear that?
Is
do
it?
You, do you hear that?
Is that Is it a train?
I think it's the E3 hype train, Colin. Good. I won't have to find. I won't have to find the train sound effect anymore.
Yeah, there
Thanks.
you go. Gather around, gather aboard, everybody. The E3 hype train starts
Right now. All right.
now.
So let's dig into it. This is going to be maybe a shorter version. Next week we're going to go full in. Today we're covering the first two press conferences for E3. These are happening next Sunday. So the way this is going to work, we're going to have this podcast this week. We're going to talk about EA and Bethesda.
Yep.
And then next week, our next podcast, which will be posted hours before the EA press conference, hours before this whole shindig goes down, we're going to cover everything else that we possibly can.
So that'd be mostly Microsoft, Sony, obviously, Nintendo, and then probably Ubisoft.
Yep, and anything else under the sun. So we're
The
just
PC gaming
in
show.
the PC gaming show. We're also going to bundle that in with, we've been talking about like going over some missing in action games, some games we haven't seen or heard anything of for a while, and many of which we're hoping or assuming, fingers crossed, that they might reappear in the next week and a half. So,
Yep.
with that said, let's just get into it. Colin, E3 2016 has a tough act to follow. E3 2015 was bananas for many companies.
It was incredible.
More than just
Yes.
Sony. There was a lot of just insane stuff going on. There's a lot of crazy announcements. Microsoft and Sony specifically had some pretty crazy stuff between backwards compatibility, and then obviously The Last Guardian, Final Fantasy VII, Shenmue 3. The list goes on. Nier 2. Like, we live in a world where Nier 2 exists, and I couldn't be happier. So, now we've got E3 2016, and it's like, well, how do you follow that? How do you... Like, is it going to be more subdued? Or, like, are they going to try to shoot for the stars this year? Like, what is going to happen this year? There's been... every year, a couple weeks out, people are like, oh, man, there haven't been any rumors. This is going to be a bad E3, isn't it? And then the rumors have started popping up over the past week. But let's kick off with EA. So I've written down a list of kind of things that maybe we could expect. And then if we think of something that EA might throw in there that we don't have written down, we can bring it up at any point. But I figure we'll just go down this list and kind of, go over point for point what's going on. So EA, I think... Well, I mean, I don't know. There's like 3 or 4 things that you could imagine being their major kind of showpiece for their conference. And it should be stated, EA is actually a different time slot this year. They're doing their own thing like the weekend before. It's everything's weird. Battlefield 1. You can bet your money that this thing is going to be everywhere for EA. Like, this is, this and Titanfall 2 will probably be some of their major things on display here over the next week and a half. Specifically because these two games are coming out this year within weeks of each other. So Battlefield 1, I don't know, are you a big Battlefield guy?
I would say I probably land more in the Call of Duty action, like more fast-paced action than the Battlefield series.
So,
not really.
I can say we'd expect Battlefield 1 to be in their press conference, probably in a big way. It sounds like, I think they said that like right after their press conference, they're going to show off like the multiplayer stuff. So that would maybe lead you to believe that the campaign will be in the press conference itself. They'll probably show a big campaign level. And but the thing about this game is it's World War One.
Yep.
So that is kind of your big talking point here, whereas a lot of shooters are going into the sci-fi direction. and now EA's got their sci-fi shooter with Titanfall, and then their kind of historic shooter, more like
Sure.
kind of World War One based with Battlefield 1. Any expectations here? I mean, you said you're more of a Call of Duty person. What could EA do? What could they show of Battlefield 1 that would get you to be like, all right, I'm in?
Maybe like, and like maybe it's like a little too much, but like I don't know, maybe like some of like the air combat I think would be really cool with the planes. I think especially like we got teased kind of at the end of that original trailer, the Zeppelin kind of warfare, I guess, kind of going around. I think that would be really cool. Like kind of like the Zeppelin thing is like it almost gave me like BioShock Infinite vibes. Like there's like some Zeppelins in that. I was like, oh man, you're gonna be like getting on this like transport plane, or you're gonna be like riding on the wing of some plane and jumping off the side. I'm like, I think that's a little too actiony for Battlefield, but
Wait, I think you point to some things that I would be looking for. Like, this is World War One, right? And so like one of the things with going into the sci-fi or you go modern warfare, then you're kind of going more futuristic now, and kind of the point of that isn't just that it's futuristic, right? Or it's space, and that's cool. It's you've got like you can do more things with your weapons. Like there are things inherently, like technology wise, it's different from what we were seeing in World War II games, right? And so I think the thing that you wouldn't want to capitalize on is like, okay, this is World War One. You talk about the Zeppelins. You talk about the Red Baron, right? Like you talk about those kinds of things and like maybe the types of weapons they were using at that time. And I think you make that like that stuff is different and it's unique, and it's stuff we haven't seen in a while, if at all, in some cases. So like that's the stuff that you focus on. And I mean the thing I would be interested in, because like there's definitely been talk about it because this is focusing on World War One. Specifically, is if they're going to show the campaign, is it going to be like super crazy set piece heavy, or could there perhaps be the possibility they go for more of a very specific tone that kind of is indicative of how awful that war was? And so that would be interesting too. I don't know if necessarily they would do that. It's kind of hard to tell, specifically.
Yeah, I don't know if they can, because, like, what was it other than Hardline?
Yeah.
Like, when they showed Battlefield 4, like, remember we got that multiplayer demo where, like, the entire
buildings were collapsing
skyscraper fell down? Yeah, I was like, I don't know if they can do something, like, on that.
Yeah.
I don't see how they can do something on that scale in World War One, unless it's, like, I don't know, the Eiffel Tower. I can't remember when the Eiffel Tower was built, but...
I guess they don't need to. Like, I guess it's more that they don't need to have, like... the crazy towers falling down or anything. It's more that, like, because I think the bets are, like, it seems likely it's going to be a campaign level during the press conference. So with multiplayer, who knows? Like, that's whatever. But, like, for me, like, and maybe this is just for me specifically, what I would look for is I think about Valiant Hearts, right? The game that Ubisoft put out for World War One. And obviously, very, very drastically different game. But that game did a really good job of evoking, like, what that war was like and what was going on. And so maybe, and it's tough because, like, do the people that play these games really care about that? Like, do they want to see, or are they just a general audience, right? The guy who's going to go to midnight launch and pick up Battlefield or Call of Duty, like, does he want a campaign that's going to show, like, man, this war was really dark? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it would be cool if they did that, because it just, like, it would be different. It would be in a very different direction from what we're used to, and I think there's room for that, but I don't know if I would expect that to happen. So let's go to Titanfall 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, you were big into Titanfall, right?
So I never actually like fully played the original Titanfall release. I played a lot of the beta.
Okay.
That was there.
Because I felt like I felt like I remember us talking about this, but.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Titanfall beta, and that was definitely something I've wanted to play for a long time.
All right, so Titanfall 2 is coming. We know it's coming. We know it's got a new campaign. It has a campaign, not just new. It has a campaign this time.
Yeah.
For Collin, what do they need to show of Titanfall 2 to get you on board more than you might already be?
It's gonna be tough because I don't necessarily know. Like, I don't really care to buy. If I'm buying Titanfall right now, sight unseen, I'm not wanting to play Titanfall for the campaign.
Okay.
So even whatever they show me campaign wise, I don't really know how much I'll even care unless it's like really like story narrative driven, which I don't think it will be. I think it's going to be, your kind of short 6-hour campaign where
Yeah.
you go and
Big set
do things
pieces
like that.
and crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it still has to do with multiplayer. As for me, I don't know how much they're going to have to show new, because I was ready to buy Titanfall 1 back on, if it was on PS4.
Yeah.
So I think just maybe not just even growing the scale, but just showing more of what I already wanted to see, I guess, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Just show me what Titanfall looks like on PS4, and I'll be interested.
Okay. So I mean, it kind of sounds like you're. I mean,
do.
because you didn't play the full game, so you're just like you're already on board. You're like, all right, I just want to see this game. Yeah. All right, that's fair enough. I feel that way about a lot of games, as you know.
Yeah.
Titanfall 2 for me, to me, the eye catcher, like the thing that like is like, okay, I'm interested, is this campaign.
Yeah.
Right, and that is the reason. So it's tough to really tell what the campaign's going to go for. It's probably likely it's going to be very set piece heavy. But I don't know much about Titanfall in general to know like what to expect from it. So I'm more just interested in watching it from the spectacle angle of like, I would imagine they might show. Do you think they'll show campaign or multiplayer during this press conference?
I was actually just thinking about this. I think it might be weird, somewhat, or maybe just getting too close to other predictions that we're gonna do.
Okay.
But I could see Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2 both showing up at multiple press conferences.
Okay. Yes. Fair enough.
So I think personally is I think we could probably see a Battlefield 1 single player at EA, and then
Multiplayer at Xbox.
No, I was actually gonna say multiplayer at Sony.
Really?
But then on the other side, for Battlefield, and I was going to say on the other side, I was going to see Titanfall at EA, or single player at EA, or maybe multiplayer at EA, and then get the next one. I think Titanfall will be more associated with Xbox.
You're not wrong about that. But also, I don't know if I could see Call of Duty and Battlefield both showing up on Sony's stage.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Also, Destiny.
You got a good point there. Yeah, you got a good point there.
So I would almost make a bet that Battlefield is assuredly in Microsoft partnership or something. Yeah. But I do think you're right in that those two are both super well suited to having multiple demos. Unfortunately, I wish that they wouldn't take up that much time at other press conferences, but I could see that happening. And I actually kind of like, depending on how they do it, like I kind of like the idea of like, all right, we're gonna end the demo here, but come back tomorrow to see the last half.
Yeah,
and, like, that's kind of cool when they do it right. They did it with Dead Space at some point.
Yeah, I remember that Dead Space 2. They did the 183.
So Titanfall 2, yeah, I don't know. Like my hope is that they would show the campaign, and just to show how crazy it is, because like if you think about the movement in those games and like the things you could do, like there's room for having some really crazy stuff going on. But we'll see. Okay, and then next on the list, the sports corner of the EA's press conference. I don't know if there's anything specifically we'd want to dig into. This kind of encompasses their NBA, if they're even doing that. Who even knows at this point? Madden.
Yeah.
FIFA. Hopefully they don't spend 50,000 hours on FIFA this year.
Oh, I know you're excited for FIFA. I know everybody is. I know you are, specifically Curtis. What else?
Any other
NHL,
any other
they got their UFC. They got their UFC game. Yeah,
and we
that Rory McIlroy's PGA Tour.
Now there's like a spaceship that crashes into the golf course.
Oh man, that'd be great.
And then of course The Sims. I'm sure there will be something related to The Sims at the press conference.
Yeah.
But those are two things I don't know that we can really say much about at all.
Well, speaking of like Sims, do you think we'll get any like? Well, was it? Well, that's right. Was it Maxis that was shut down? So no, like Sim City.
Oh.
Or
yeah.
No Sim City. No. All that kind of stuff.
No.
Yeah. Sorry. Didn't mean to.
Well, speaking of things that like we haven't seen in a while, or might
Criterion.
not see in a while, depending on how this goes.
Yeah.
So if you remember
Yeah.
2 years ago, during
That was their dev diary.
yeah, so Criterion Games, it was a very strange EA press conference where they were showing off a bunch of stuff like way early. And it was a bunch of like like you said, dev diaries, and it was like nothing real. It was super weird. Like I kind of liked it, but at the same time, I was like, "What are you doing?" So Criterion Games showed off a new IP, and it wasn't a racing game. It was there were vehicles in it. It seemed almost like racing, sports, kind of extreme sports-ish, maybe. It was very unclear what it would actually be, but they were showing off a bunch of like high-level concepts. It's been 2 years, and we've heard nothing about this. So first, my question is, Colin, do you think this is going to show up there at E3? It should be stated.
I think it probably will.
They basically have come out and said there was no Need for Speed this year.
Yeah.
So the room is open for a game like that, some sort of game like that. So you're on the yes train.
I think it'll be. I think that'll show it. I don't necessarily think it'll be out this year.
Okay.
I don't know if it necessarily will be.
If you had to guess, if you had to take a stab in the dark, what do you think this game is?
I don't know. I was almost gonna say if it was like gonna maybe go like some weird route, like a Trackmania Turbo kind of thing.
Oh.
But I have no
Colin.
idea. But it'd be like it's like instead of just having
like,
but instead of having cars, it goes like the Diddy Kong racing route where you can do like planes and boats, and it's just like all over the place. And I don't know.
I like
That's
the
my
way you
dream.
think. I like the way
It's
you
my
think.
dream for that.
I think this game's got to be like if this game's not here this year, you gotta start thinking, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope it. You gotta think it's gonna show up. And it's Criterion. Like they do some really great stuff.
Yeah.
Specifically racing recently, but we'll see. I really like your idea. One, the Trackmania connection's cool, but also like the Diddy Kong racing. If you think about it, like the multiple different vehicles and okay.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yep.
I could be down for that.
I would be too.
I'm gonna make a prediction. That game comes out this year.
Ooh,
Whatever it
okay.
is. Line in the sand. We're drawing it. Okay.
Good prediction.
So, now these next few, this is gonna be fun. So, Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yep.
We know officially now it does not come out till the beginning of next year. I believe that's the word, kind of Q1 2017, I believe.
Something like that, yeah.
So probably March. So,
Yep.
I like Mass Effect, specifically Mass Effect 2. It's the only one I played. I like that game. You like or dislike Mass Effect?
I think Mass Effect 2 is one of the most overrated games of
Wow.
all time. I'm sorry, I'm putting it out there.
I mean, I don't think it's like the greatest thing ever. I really liked it though.
I was so excited for Mass Effect 2. I think I might have told this story before, but I was like, when it finally came out on PlayStation, PS3 a year later, I was like right there at like Target, 10 a.m. right when they opened, buying Mass Effect 2. I was so excited.
So do you
I just
prefer
came home
the
and
first
just didn't
game?
care. I never played the first game.
Oh, did you just play 2 or?
Yeah, I just played 2 because remember it was only originally 2. Because 2 came out and I bought 3 really cheap, and I still want to get into that and see if it's maybe a little bit better. Maybe if I see Andromeda at E3, maybe it might get me to get back
what
into
can
3.
Andromeda do to win you over, if anything?
Oh man, you're gonna hate this.
I don't know if I will, but okay.
Higher production values. Yeah.
Okay.
Like the way I thought the.
Are you talking specifically about like character animation, like in like the dialogue when you're talking to characters and?
I would say that I thought things like the shooting mechanics were just not good.
Okay.
I thought just the way you not necessarily mine, but like you gathered resources, I thought was like really muddled. Like I never understood like any of that, and I thought like that could have just been streamlined so much better. I think especially with the character models is probably the first thing I go to, because I think Shepard only does like 3 character animations depending on what you choose. It's either a put your hands at the side, it's either lean forward, or it's put your shoulders back and cross your arms. Like, and it was like he would do the same thing like all the time, and I was like, this like. There's got to be something.
I mean, you're pointing out a problem that I have with a lot of these games, and Bethesda even has this issue with like a Fallout or Elder Scrolls. Is like you get into, like you walk up to a character and you start talking to them, and it's just like the characters are like so stilted, and they don't feel real.
And you know what almost changes it to me? You know what game that doesn't feel like that?
Okay.
Witcher 3.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't feel that way at all, and I feel like that's almost what makes me like enjoy that game so much, because it feels like no matter who you talk to, like it feels like a brand new person.
And you're like, you feel like you're having this conversation. It's not like you're talking to this piece of cardboard that's like standing there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean that's a huge task to like have that kind of like production value, I suppose. But it just doesn't feel real to me like a lot. I just feel like I'm just talking to this blank computer person that recites some lines. I just never thought the dialogue choices that I had were very entertaining in Mass Effect. Like there were a couple ones where I was like, yeah, this is what I want to say, and it like gives you like the bulleted version of what you want to say, and then so like there was one in particular there was one in particular where it was like you see some character in Mass Effect 2 that you haven't seen for a long time, and then you like one of the dialogue options and it's like, hey, it's me. And I'm like, yeah, like that's what I want to say, like, hey, it's me. And then like it was like shepherding me like, hey, you idiot, it's me. Why don't you pay attention and get your ASS out of all this? And I was like, that was not what I was trying to say. And now apparently I just screwed my relationship with this whole person. Yes, I platinumed that game. I love that game.
Because I was
LA Noire is
I love that game too. It has so many problems. I love that game, but I was gonna bring up the fact that like there are so many times that you select an option and Cole just loses his mind on the person.
Yeah.
It's so amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
So they have a lot of work to do to kind of win you over. For me, Andromeda being a new thing, I think helps it more so than anything else. I really liked 2, but like by the time 3 came around, I just didn't have an interest because I had played the middle chapter, and so I wasn't super invested into that story arc. But I liked 2 for what it was. So Andromeda being something totally new with new characters and everything, like that has me interested. I don't disagree with like your problems with it, because I think you bring up good points as to like what you didn't like about it, because there are things that I also don't really care about either in those games. And like just BioWare in general, like there is some stuff there that it's like, yeah, that's a little rough, that could be better.
Yeah.
But then you like, it feels like sometimes with these kinds of games, and like Fallout is the same, it feels like those kinds of things, it's like you just take it for what it is. And it's like, yeah, these characters look awful. Or like the faces of these NPCs are the worst.
Yeah.
And you just kind of accept it for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I would hope that some of that's a little bit more improved and stuff. And you're right about like having like the dialogue option, and then like what they actually say is so totally different. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
As far as shooting, I don't really. It's been so long. I think 3 would probably improved upon that at some point, but I didn't play much of 3 either. So I don't know. I'm at least very interested to see this game, because I imagine we'll see a lot of it. Yeah, would be my guess. This will be like technically its first E3. We kind of got that like teaser trailer I think last year, but this will be its first E3 where we actually see the game, and it will be the only E3 we see the game. So I'd imagine this will be, again, like Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2, one of the bigger kind of headline titles there. Let's finish off EA really quick with 2 last ones. Star Wars.
I think we'll get strangely enough, I think if they're talking about Battlefront 2 comes out next year, I think we'll get maybe some teaser. And maybe is what I think, and maybe by some teasers, I think it'll be like maybe like Rey or Finn shows up at the end of like, some AT-ATs fighting, that'll be like, hey, we're getting into new Star Wars.
So we know
stuff,
there are specifically 3 Star Wars games in development. There's Battlefront 2. There's Amy Hennig's Star Wars at Visceral. That's the third-person action, and then the Visceral ones. That's the one. So in 2017 is Battlefront 2. 2018 is the Visceral Star Wars with Amy Hennig. and then Respawn with
It's like a third-person action game as well.
So both of them are third-person action apparently.
Okay.
And that one, I guess, is probably gonna be the next year, and that one's just recently started. So definitely that is definitely no go. The Respawn one, Visceral. I don't know, because like we've known about it for years now. 2018 is still a ways off. It's still 2 years off.
Yeah.
But the Visceral, like that one specifically, like you think about like because Amy Hennig left Uncharted a couple years ago. It's been a little while. And we've known about this for some time, and it's unclear when it actually started. And I think it's most likely that it won't show up. But part of me wants to believe, because I just can't. I don't know. It seems crazy that they would have Battlefield, Titanfall, and a Battlefront just like all there.
Sure.
Right.
I can see that. Yeah.
And Battlefront 2, like, I feel like you might need to be careful showing off Battlefront 2 with the reception of Battlefront, and maybe when you show Battlefront 2, you would want to like show the campaign. You know, or something like that. And so like the way that EA has treated their past few E3s, where they have been open to showing things that are way off in the distance. I kind of want to make a bet that we might get a very short teaser for the Visceral Star Wars, like right at the end. In the style of the Mass Effect Andromeda teaser last year, where it's like CG, it's very little to go on, but there would probably be 1, 2, or maybe 3 little details in there that you could point at to be, oh, that's what they're doing. Yeah, and that would be the only thing we see. But I just approach it because the past few years EA has been very open, and I don't remember the guy's name. It's kind of the head of EA at this point, like as far as he's emceeing the press conferences. I don't remember. It's the guy who looks like the Mirror's Edge villain, and I cannot think Andrew something.
Not House.
No, but he is. He's been very open about showing things that are far off, especially the past couple years. Now that might change, of course, this year. Maybe they've learned from mistakes and they feel like that doesn't work anymore. But if they continue with that philosophy, if it was me, I would choose to show that Visceral Star Wars over Battlefront 2. Yeah. Even if Battlefront 2 is closer and maybe in more of a state to show. I think you whip up you try to get a CG trailer for that Visceral game. Just a very short teaser. Doesn't need to be a trailer, like 20 to 30 seconds. It's very short. Just add in a few little things to give some hints at what it could be about. And just let that be the thing for the next year that we have to sit on. Yeah, and they might, I'm sure they're going to talk about Old Republic, the MMO. Oh my god, going. Right? If you forgot about that. Yeah. Because, they still got that going, so I'm sure we'll get another CG trailer about the next DLC. Maybe, I don't know when the last expansion's been, or if they'd be planning on that. So maybe something related to that. Anything else you can think of that might show up? I put new IP, ? I don't know if maybe something will show up, maybe a big surprise. The only thing wasn't Jade Raymond working with EA? Well, see, I thought that would have ended up being the Respawn thing. Because she specifically right. I thought it was going to be a new IP. I thought she was also brought over to do Star Wars. Oh, you could be, I wasn't sure. You could be right, but also she was just months ago. Like she was very recent, so anything she'd be doing, Star Wars or new IP, probably wouldn't show up here. Yeah, true. But I can't think of anything else. I don't have much. There was the only other thing, and we'll move on to Bethesda, and we might have to be quick with Bethesda, if possible, because we're running long at this point. The only other thing I could think about is, remember a couple years ago during their Dev Diary press conference, they did tease a new IP from BioWare. Yeah, I remember that, yeah. That was 2 years ago. With Mass Effect being here, I can't imagine that would show up. They'd probably want to focus on Mass Effect specifically. And then maybe the new IP from BioWare would be next year. I guess but that's the only other thing I could think of. Let's move on to Bethesda. There's not a whole lot to talk about here anyways, so we'll try to be quick. So here's kind of how my list is planning out here. So I put Doom on here. So Doom just came out, praised very widely, very, very positive reception. Specifically the single player. We know there's like some multiplayer DLC coming along with the season pass, but the single player Doom really hit hard and really surprised a lot of people. It is kind of Wolfenstein-esque in that it kind of came out,
Yeah.
there was low expectations, and it was actually really, really good. And so a lot of people have been very high on Doom. Now it's been a month since release, so I feel like because it's Bethesda, it's not like they're an EA or something where there's just a ton of stuff they could talk about. Bethesda is much more focused. There's like a handful of things, so I can't imagine they won't talk about Doom's reception. My hope is that there is single player DLC content for Doom in the works, and whether or not that shows up there, kind of a flip of the coin, I think. Is there anything Doom related that they could talk about to catch your interest here?
Well, I think there's already like that season pass that's got deal map packs and all that stuff. And honestly, I don't know if they would do any single player Doom stuff. I almost feel like if they did more Doom stuff, it'd be like more snap map.
Yeah. So I was gonna
content.
say, well, my hope is that they would do a Wolfenstein style expansion about a year from now.
Yeah.
For it
Oh,
to be a
okay.
single player
Sure.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're right. I think the most likely stuff is they would talk more in depth about Snap Map and what is to come for Snap Map, because it's super cool. But there's also like a lot of things that they could expand upon. So that's kind of it for Doom. Fallout 4, we just had Far Harbor came out. That's the last of the DLC that's been announced. We know there's more coming. It's practically leaked anyways already. So I would imagine that they would announce and maybe talk briefly about some of the DLC that is coming to Fallout 4 kind of throughout maybe the remainder of this year. There's one specifically that seems to be, it's like Nuka World is one that may have leaked. So maybe hinting at a theme park of some sort, which I would be super down for. So there's that. This next one's got question marks all over it. Hey, do you remember Battle Cry?
Oh, you mean Battleborn?
No. Battle Cry.
Oh yeah, that was that World War? Is it like World War One melee focus game or something like that?
You got me.
That fell off the map.
So Battle Cry was at their press
about.
conference last year. It's like a short, brief trailer in the middle of it. I feel like everyone's just. I think Battle Cry is a totally different game at this point.
Oh yeah.
I was looking back on it last night to see if there's been any recent updates. One, the Twitter account hasn't tweeted since like July.
Oh.
And I think it was towards the end of last year, maybe October timeframe. There was an article that Bethesda was like acknowledging the reaction to Battle Cry, and they're not happy with the reception and where it's going. So they're looking into what they can do. I think that game might be changed a bit or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'd be excited to see that.
I would imagine it would probably show up briefly this year, depending on what shape it is in. But I would imagine Battle Cry probably resurfaces. Probably. And if it's not, if it doesn't, it's. I mean, because they've said that Battle Cry still is a thing. I think recently they've said it still exists. So, but I imagine it's probably a different kind of game, or maybe they've done some like it's probably seen some pretty major overhauls. I anything about Battle Cry interests you?
Not really. That there's usually I sit down and I'm able to like watch, things from EA as like things I don't really like. Any E3 things I don't care about, I'll watch. But this is like one of those.
It's one
things
of those like, God, yeah.
I was like, I could get up and just go do something else. Yeah.
Well, speaking of things that I could get up and go do something else, Elder Scrolls Online will probably be there in some respect.
I'm sure
Maybe an
will.
expansion. I don't, I haven't followed that game, so I don't know if an expansion's recently come out. I don't think so. It's been about a year since it came to console, and so you would have to bet that would show up in some form. And then the Elder Scrolls card game they announced last year. Also, I would expect that to show up. There's nothing either of those things could do to get me interested. I would assume the same is probably for you.
Nah, I don't really care for Elder Scrolls at
all right,
all.
Me too.
Yeah.
So, let's get to the good stuff. We're getting ready to wrap up. There's a couple things left. Dishonored 2. So this game is coming out in November of this year. I believe November 11th, specifically.
Okay.
This was recently on a Game Informer cover. It was announced last year through a CG trailer. I expect Dishonored 2 to be the Fallout 4 of their press conference this year.
I would probably.
I would
agree,
imagine
yeah.
Dishonored 2 is going to get a very, very lengthy gameplay demonstration, and I could not be happier about that. Dishonored 1
Yep.
blew me away. Just completely blew me away. I went in with relatively high expectations, and that game really stuck with me and has stuck with me for years now. Dishonored 2 was the thing last year at Bethesda that I was super hyped about, and it is going to be the thing this year at Bethesda that I will be super hyped about. There's a lot of really crazy stuff coming out at the end of this year, Colin. Things that I am more excited about than I am Dishonored 2, namely Persona 5 and Final Fantasy 15, specifically.
So.
But Dishonored 2, Colin, don't get me started.
So, I'm getting ready to.
But
I'm
you
getting ready to
just
sound
go ahead
like
and
a
rain on my parade.
A completely opposite person.
Yep, go ahead and just rain on my parade.
I got Dishonored. It really underwhelmed me.
Okay.
I had somewhat moderate expectations for it, and I gave that game like at least 3 shots at different time periods in like a year span, and I just couldn't do it. I think I got to like the teleport part where you could like teleport.
Yeah, the blink.
A little bit. You do it. Yeah, and like that wasn't like, that's not super far in.
No.
And I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it anymore. I just nothing made me want to play that game anymore. And which is weird because it had really it had BioShock vibes.
It's such a cool aesthetic. That whole setting
I know,
is
and
so cool.
That's what grabbed me about it. And then I just played it and I'm like, I don't get it. I just didn't. I don't know. Maybe another time, but yeah. Yeah. I was wondering if
we're adding stuff. We're adding stuff.
I was gonna bring that up.
Well, good. Okay. So Dishonored 2.
I was gonna bring that up.
And honestly, I don't know, from what I've read about this game, I don't know what they could do to like bring you over, or like, because it just sounds like this is just not a game for you. You know what I mean?
I honestly don't care.
Like, setting aside, like, it just sounds like gameplay wise, like there's nothing. It doesn't sound like there's anything that they would be introducing that would like really pull you in. But that's okay. I will have the hype for 2 people for this game.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll be able to carry that mantle for both of us. Yeah, I'm super stoked. Having 2 playable just I am in. It's the type of thing that like I don't need to see anything of this game, but I'm excited just to see it anyways. Could not be more excited.
Cool.
Okay. So the rest of these are all just huge giant question marks. Although the first of which I feel pretty confident is going to be there. Prey 2. Or,
now, do you think this is
whatever it's
machine
called.
Game? Do you think this is Machine Games working on Prey 2?
So apparently it's Arcane.
Oh, it's Arcane.
So
okay.
Arcane apparently is a 2-studio developer, one of which is working on Dishonored 2, the other which picked up Prey 2. So basically everything we know about this is from a Kotaku story from a couple years back. Infamously, the thing that like the Bethesda producer or something was like saying nasty things about them because it was all leaking. And like, so Bethesda was like, no, Prey 2 is definitely canceled. And then like it was, but then Arcane picked it up. Okay. And whether or not it's called Prey 2 anymore, and chances are it's probably pretty different from the Prey 2 that we saw.
Yeah.
And so like it's kind of hard to really know what this actually is going to be until we see it. But there's been some rumors recently that it's going to show up at the Bethesda E3 press conference, and that makes perfect sense because you think about like, I mean, yeah, they could retread Doom and Fallout 4 and stuff, but it's other than Dishonored 2, it's not anything like there's nothing. We already know everything, and so you would think they would want to have maybe 1 or 2 new announcements. And so whether it's called Prey 2 or not, whatever it is supposed to be, apparently it's more in line with like a System Shock spiritual successor, supposedly.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, I would count on it being there. Probably not in a big way. Probably just a short trailer. Maybe Dishonored 2, like last year, where we got a short CG trailer, introduced a couple characters or something, and you know it probably wouldn't be out. Like we would probably see it again next E3 or something like that. would be my guess. I don't know if you have anything to add about that.
I can't even remember that Prey 2 trailer, and honestly,
You should go back and watch it. It is.
care.
I mean, it's.
I should,
It's
because
a
I
bummer
don't remember it at all.
Because like you have to keep in mind, it's probably not going to be anything like it. But that initial trailer is really really cool. It is a super cool trailer. Okay. Tango Gameworks. They put out The Evil Within at the end of 2014. Evil Within was received pretty well, I think. I'm pretty sure. I think it did well, actually. Had its DLC, season pass, and everything. Do you think there's any chance that The Evil Within 2 could be a thing?
I think there's a very high chance it'll be a thing.
All right,
I think it's very high.
I like where you're going.
In addition, I think there's another high chance that we'll get a sequel to something in the Bethesda press conference.
Okay, well, so Evil Within 2, you're saying high chance. Did you like the first game? Anything that they could do with Evil Within 2 to get you in? If you didn't,
I have the first game, but I haven't played it.
Oh, you should really play it. You
It's
love
on
Resident
the
Evil
backlog.
4. Your love for
Resident Evil 4 is the greatest game ever made.
You're wrong about that, but you should really play the Evil Within.
I know.
You should really check it out. It's really really cool. The story is bananas, but it's a really cool game. I hope you're right. I hope there is Evil Within 2. I don't know the chances of it, but I do think regardless, Tango Gameworks. I think there's been enough time that they could maybe announce something new. I think I know what you're gonna bring up, but go ahead and bring it up.
Yeah, Wolfenstein 2.
You bet.
Something about the Next Order or something like that. The Next Order. I played, I want to maybe halfway through Wolfenstein: The New Order, and the only reason I hadn't finished it was because I rented it and I only kind of red boxed it. Only had it for like a day or two. Didn't get all the way through it. That is absolutely one game I do want to go back, and if I could get cheaper if it comes out on Plus.
So after going through Doom and loving it is actually the sole reason why I want to go back and try that Wolfenstein game.
Nice.
Yeah. I think absolutely 100% Wolfenstein 2 or a new Wolfenstein game will make an appearance.
Yep.
Absolutely. Beyond a shadow, that will probably be an early press conference reveal if I had to guess.
Yeah, probably.
So that said, anything else you can think of Bethesda-wise that you think might sneak in there? Anything that we've forgotten that has a chance to show up?
The only thing I can think of is they'll be like, hey, here's some expansion for like Fallout Shelter or something. Okay.
Maybe some new mobile
thing. It's available now. Yeah, more mobile stuff. Yeah, I could see that.
We'll just go ahead and throw in. There's probably going to be a Dishonored 2 Collector's Edition kind of thing announced. That's going to be their big game for the end of this year, for sure. Other than that, I can't think of anything in particular that they would do. It would be really cool, because Bethesda, unlike the other press conferences, Bethesda, you kind of typically know what's happening. They're just because of who they are, like you kind of know what they've got going on. So it would actually be really cool if they did come out and say, here's a brand new IP that no one was expecting.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Some people might say like, oh, Elder Scrolls 6, but like there's no way.
Well, that's not
you're going to get.
Fallout 4 just
I don't
came
think
out.
There's any chance you're going to. Yeah,
you're not going to see
I don't think there's any chance you're not going to see that.
No. Not at all.
So, yeah, I think we covered it.
This is like a little bit different, but I don't even know. I mean, it really depends on what this console generation even begins to look like, and we have no way of knowing until we see the Xbox Scorpio and PS4K. But you even have to wonder, like, if we actually go into a new, like, whole new generation with PS5 and Xbox, whatever they would call it, you have to kind of wonder with the amount of time between Skyrim and Fallout 4, like, it could be a long time.
Oh, yeah.
It could be a very long time. It really depends. But other than that, I think that's it. We went a little over what we wanted to do. So next week, Colin, we're going to reconvene. We'll cover any news that dropped next week, which I'm anticipating is going to be a lot.
Will be some.
We know for sure the Destiny expansion is getting announced next week.
I
imagine a lot of stuff's going to happen next week. At least it sounds like it. Typically, that's how things go, week before E3.
Yep.
There's no calm before the storm, basically.
Yeah. Pretty much.
But next week we'll reconvene. We'll talk Microsoft, Ubisoft, Sony, and Nintendo. Hopefully.
And maybe a PC gaming show.
And then the PC gaming show, of course, obviously. You know, we can't
Let's talk about Dota for
God,
like
no.
5 hours. Nope. Not gonna happen.
Well, this time next week we'll definitely cover the Half-Life 3 announcement reveal. So it's gonna be a fun show next week.
That'll be massive.
Yeah,
that'll be massive.
Yeah, it is. That's gonna do it this week. So the first, the E3 hype chain it's getting close. It's not quite here yet. It's not quite pulled into the station just yet, but we're getting there.
Yep.
That is the EA and Bethesda press conference. We'll cover predictions for each conference like next week. We'll have some more time to kind of come up with maybe some predictions we have. We kind of covered it for EA and Bethesda in a way there.
Yeah.
But let us know what you think. What are your expectations for both the Electronic Arts and Bethesda software?
Is it GameWorks or something like that?
Two.
I don't know.
Video games. What do you think about those two? What do you feel about the PlayStation Plus lineup? Anything in there that you're super excited about? And any news we missed? What's some big news recently that happened that you're super excited about? Let us know. And until next time, Collin, thanks for joining me.
Absolutely, thank you.
And thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. E3 is almost here, folks. Be excited.
Half-Life 3 confirmed.